Is this update unfair or the best change ever? In this video, I'll break down the troop return debate. Some players say it break the game, till others are saying it make the wars more fun. Hey friends, glad to have you here. This is one of the hottest topics in Call of Dragons right now, so let's dive in together. So what is the troop return system? The troop return system brings back more armies. More armies mean bigger and longer fights, and I think this is something that the majority of the people are looking for, just to have more troops to fight. And if you have a chance to actually get back your troops, because it's definitely costing way less from this to train the troop all over, I think we're going to start seeing more and more players with bigger elixir healing. And what I mean by that is, when I get to rally, I'm going to share with you something. When I get to rally back in the days, I lose 420k deaths. Obviously for some whales this is a peanut, but for me it was decent amount of troops that I lose. Obviously half of them I return at the end of the season, and I lose 210k troops. This reflects immediately in my free resource healing to be with 60k less from the previous before I actually get the rally, which make me really sad back in the days, because extra 60 daily free healing, it was taken from me, and there is just no returning back except just to train more troops. Right now we're having, most likely we're going to have this system at the end of the season. It's going to be 7 days where you're going to be able to return back your troops. And by having more troops, people are going to just fight more, and I think this is in the core of the Call of Dragons. Nobody like to get out of the troops after 2 hours and maybe for the next day or two to be out of the combat and not able to help his alliance. Definitely nobody is looking for this outcome. So with getting your up to 95% your troops returned back, you're going to just be able, first of all, having more troops to actually spend on the field in the war, and second, having increased free resource healing. I think this is a huge win, just because right now I don't know how many power, 98. I have full elixir policy, because basically with the policy, when the season starts, you're going to receive the buffs. And right now I have 885k elixir production per day. So if I save my troops, because I already have some deaths, not that many, I mean it's like 40k dead troops. Obviously at the end of the season I'm going to get 20k. This is after zone 2. I use bitter end when I was playing, because right now I'm going to push for and I'm going to get more troops. But yeah, these 20k troops may not be something crazy from point of the resources. Maybe it's going to be like 5k elixir production, or maybe 2 or 3k, I really don't know. But at the end of the day, if I can actually get back these troops, next season I'm going to continue having 5k more elixirs. On top of that, I'm going to get like 20k of my troops again on the battlefield. This is going to help me actually fight longer and support my alliance in the future. And this is the truth. Instead of empty maps, players stay active all season, because when you get defeated, for example, the gate open, you have 7 days before the next gate open. So the gate open, everybody rush, start building, start fighting, and etc. And at day 2, if everything finish at the day 2, the next 5 days, people on the losing side are not actually going to participate in any kind of PvP activity, which is going to hurt and is going to leave the maps empty, and nobody's going to have fun like this. And I think with this change, with this troop return back, the field is going to stay alive with constant battles. It's better to not finish everything at day 2, but better to finish at day 5, and you have like 2 days, which is not a big period. And I think players is just going to enjoy more Call of Dragons like this. when they have the troops, and even if they go and rally some bastion, even if they go and rally some castle, they're going to get decent amount of their dead troops at the end of the season. This is going to increase the fighting potential of Call of Dragons when you start actually playing this game. There will be no empty maps, and all the zone is going to be active for longer. Some fear that too many revives will unbalance the game. They worry about endless food of troops, and I totally understand that people are actually worried about that. The people are just going to stop caring about how they're performing in the PvP, because they're going to have tons of troops and they're going to just throw these troops in the enemy direction. But you have to keep in mind that the whales and krakens from the beginning don't care that much. Okay, they just don't care that much. Open one kraken or active whale and see how many deaths they're having. If they're active, they're going to have tons of deaths, and we are already like 50% returning, so those people don't care. At the same time, I think it's going to support by a lot the WoW spenders and mid spenders in this direction, because I'm going to, as a WoW spender, I'm going to be able to actually buy these packs and return back my troops. Same can be done for mid spenders. Now, the only one that may not actually, first of all, I'm not so sure how the things will be with the bundles. I see some, how to say it, somebody writes that there's going to be gems. With the gems, you're going to get back your troops, or they're going to be a bundles that you have to buy or something like this. Not 100% familiar, but I really hope that the free-to-play players also going to be able to return back their troops. And again, this is going to bring more fun on the battlefield. More players is just going to have their troops there, and they're going to play and they're going to enjoy Call of Dragons. Not like fighting the first one day, then have Fury Hospital with 5k troops, and if you regen like 1 million per day, I mean 5 million troops in the hospital, 1 million per day, you have to wait like 5 days to actually clear your hospital, which, you know, you're not going to be able to enjoy the game. So I think this is actually change in good direction, definitely. But the real test is whether this creates fair wars or just endless spamming, because this is also something that we may notice. At one point, having this 95% troop return or 90% troop return, and in the same time having non-stop reducing troops, at one point players is going to have tons of troops. That is correct. So we may actually see like spamming troops non-stop, but from there is going to come the other restriction in Call of Dragons, and this is your stamina. Your stamina, you're going to have like 157 stamina in total. I have that much. It's like 13 stamina recovery speed per hour. Now if you get this thing, it's going to give you 3 stamina recovery. I think the big one is giving you like 5% stamina recovery. I don't remember quite well, but still everything is going to end up with the stamina. You're not going to be able to non-stop throw troops in the enemy direction. You still have to play smart. You still have to take care over the Legion and get the best value from your Legion, because you're going to finish your stamina. So I think this is something that, you know, I don't think is going to make the things unbalanced. This ruins is going to become extremely important. Having 3% from the previous Astasia statue and having 5% here is like 8% in total. So those type of buffs is going to be extremely valuable. If we end up in era where the people have tons of troops, I think this is what is going to happen. Still, the game is having a mechanic somehow to actually stop from non-stop spamming units. Right now we're seeing people non-stop spam infantry, and at one point those infantry just finish their stamina. So you also have to play smart there. But still, if the balances is lost, the battles can feel unfair, and free-to-play players might get pushed out. This is also something that I was thinking about. Can the actually free-to-play player get pushed out? Again, I'm not 100. This feature is still not in the game. Some people are having sneak peeks, but I don't have sneak peeks. So if it's not bundle related and is gem related, I think it's going to be fine for the free-to-play players. They in general don't have that many troops to begin with, so it's not going to cost that much gems to get back their troops. But if it's something bundle related, this is going to be actually bad, because you know, free to play is going everything in the battle, because right now free to play can support their alliance, correct? So we are having free to play, WoW spender, mid spender, whales, krakens, etc. So right now free to play extremely valuable, but if they, maybe the free to play players may not actually join the rallies and things like this to actually save their troops. But yeah, we have to see this thing. But I really see potential problem with the free-to-play players is strongly depending how this update is going to be distributed and how we're going to actually get our troops back. But when it's done the right way, everybody is going to get more fights, more action, and more fun. I think this is actually the treasure hidden in this update, that just the players is going to have more fun, more fights, more everything, and more merits. Definitely more merits by having more troops and more free healing. You're going to generate more merits from having less troops and less merits. So I think this is in good direction. This is my personal opinion. I have a good feeling over this thing. I really hope the game somehow give opportunity for the free-to-play players also get their troops back. Even though that if you're a free-to-play player, the only way you can actually lose troops is somebody rally your castle. Nobody asks you to join in the rallies, nobody asks you to join in the garrisons or swarming enemy cities. You can play defensive and keep your troops. This is something that I did in my first 1 year playing Call of Dragons. I really care about my troops, and yeah, just building this daily elixir production, so I'm going to be more sustainable on the battlefield. But still, I think this is the hidden treasure, that we're going to have just more fights, more longer, more action, and seeing in the merit shop something that is costing like 600k merits pet skill, I'm going to be able to get it. And right now, gathering 600k merits is little hard, especially when there's no activity. You're forced to do merits trading and stuff like this. So yeah, I really hope we actually increase the activity on the battlefield in Call of Dragons. And I think the result from all this update is going to be the players are going to be happier, because there is always something to do. The game feels alive. I definitely think the game is going to feel alive. You'll no longer face dead maps where nothing actually happened. I think this is going to be the result. You're not going to face dead maps at the end of the day. You're going to have something to do there. You're going to fight there. You're going to do your thing. Now, obviously, it can depend also over the leaderships. If the leaders say, okay, we're not fighting, even though that our hospital is empty. If the leaders say we're not going to fight in this zone, is obviously other things involved in the whole picture over the map and how the things will be there. But I have strong belief that we're going to have more fights there, and there's not going to be, we're not going to face dead maps. And Call of Dragons is going to become a place of non-stop wars. I think this is going to increase the popularity of Call of Dragons also. This small change in from developers in Call of Dragons is definitely going to how to say it, make the Call of Dragons non-stop fighting, and at the end this is just going to bring more players, because it's going to be, you know, if you have troops, you're going to fight, you return your troops, so every training you're doing is just more troops that you can just get back. On top of that, we're training like 8k per day. If it's tier 4, if it's tier 5, is 8k per day and half. But yeah, we're going to just have more troops. Call of Dragons is going to become a place of non-stop wars. More people is going to come. Our channel is going to explode. So if you want to support my channel, just hit one like over this video. and also subscribe if you're new here. And the big win in this whole situation, after I say all these things, is that revives is going to keep that game exciting. This is my personal opinion. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave your comments below what you think about this returning of the troops. Also hit one like if you get some value, or at least you get some interesting topic, and subscribe if you're new. I wish you a great day and see you in the next video.